Hello everybody, welcome back. The Music Fan is here, bringing smiles to the faces, knowledge to the people, and most importantly, music to the masses. And I am super excited to talk about this one. Really quickly though, I am going to be changing up the style again. I've been going on with a lot of much longer videos, and for me it takes a lot of time to actually edit everything. For me to do a, 19-20 minute video, it still takes me about an hour to actually edit it. So I'm going to try to limit myself again and see if I can be more concise and cohesive with my words rather than rambling on for 20 minutes. So I'm going to bring back the timer, going to try to limit myself to 10 minutes. If I really need to go over, I will, but that's basically it. So we are going to start right now. Today on Are You In, I will be reviewing Charlie Puth's latest album entitled Voicenotes. For those of you who don't know who Charlie Puth is, Charles Otto Puth Jr. is an American singer-songwriter and record producer from Rumson, New Jersey. His only other album so far is 9-Track Mind in 2016. Now, I didn't really know much about him. I've heard him from where everyone else probably has, most notably the Wiz Khalifa collab, See You Again for the Fast and Furious franchise, as well as Marvin Gaye and some other big songs, One Call Away. I personally never listened to his other album, but it was on my mind to take a look at. I never got around to it. But after reading up on him, I have grown to have an appreciation for this particular person. He went to college at Berklee College of Music for music producing in 2013. He also has basically all his life has been in the music field, whether he's learning piano from his mom or if he's at the Manhattan School for pre-college doing a major in jazz piano. He has perfect pitch, and he arranges his stuff, he produces his stuff, and it gave me an appreciation for his work. So for the longest time, I was hearing a particular song at work on the radio, and I was always wondering who did it, because it was such a fun song. The bass was awesome, and I finally figured it out, and it was Charlie Puth. And the particular song in mind was Attention. I really liked that jam, and I heard a couple of others from him, being The Way I Am and How Long, Done For Me. I've heard most of them at the restaurant, so I took a dive into this album, and what I found was some really interesting pop music. To me, this is the best pop album I've heard this year. It's kind of what I wanted from Justin Timberlake in parts, where the arrangements are a little bit more interesting and more jazz, rather than a lot of the stuff that he did on Man of the Woods. What I really appreciated about this album is it's really straightforward in terms of a pop album, but also there's a lot of points where you have these very interesting chord progressions. So I'm just going to go through a couple and then talk a little bit more about the album. So for example, just talking about, in terms of jazz ideas, there's some really cool ideas that I really like on here. In particular, going from The Way I Am. Not really that different from a lot of stuff, but I really, of course, like this G flat to A flat to B flat minor on to D flat on the chorus, where it's I don't tell them all that you can either hate me or love me, but that's just the way I am. I really like that. And then what I also really love about this song is this half-step progression that he does on the bridge, where it's the oh, this is what you wanted. Oh, this is what you wanted. So that's a B flat minor to a B flat over A to B flat over A flat to B flat over G to G flat to a C minor 7 flat 5 to an F7. Really fun song. In particular, I think it's a great opening song. It has a lot of energy in it. I love the little staccato guitar lines and how Charlie Puth mimics it on the verse. I really like the chorus as well as the bridge part. I think it's a great way of opening up this album. Another chord progression that I really, really like is the LA Girls progression. The verse itself is an A flat minor chord to a B flat minor 7 to an E flat 7. So you got, and then the pre-chorus idea is a series of 2-5-1s that are lovely to listen to. That being E flat 7 to G flat 7 to B major 7 to an E major 7 to a B flat minor 7 flat 5 to an E flat 7 to an A flat minor. And then he does this half steps approach to bring it back to that idea. Really, really cool. Another one being done for me, I really like the beginning chord progression of a B minor to a G sharp minor 7 flat 5 to a G major 7 to a C sharp minor flat 5 to an F7. So you get that chord progression of I think, just a lot of great jazz tinges. The last one being Change that I really, really enjoy. Not as jazzy because it does have James Taylor on it, so it's a little bit more folky, but it does use some incorporations that you hear on songs like You've Got a Friend. In particular, the one that I'm looking at are two things. So the verse itself, it starts with A, then G minor, G sharp minor, then F sharp minor, then E. Right? So you got this. And it keeps repeating. Until we get to here, and then it borrows a chord with F sharp 7. So that isn't in the key of E. So it changes up a little bit of the pace. And then there's this beautiful bridge part that kind of feels like something from, again, You've Got a Friend, where it has this A to a G sharp 7 to a C sharp minor 7 to a B minor 7 to an E7 to an A major 7 to a C major 7. A lot of great things that, like, even if you don't pick it up, it shows that it has a little bit more of a presence when it comes to the chord progressions and interesting ideas that you wouldn't hear in a lot of pop nowadays. I can't really think of another person that is doing that jazz influence as well as he is. Like when you compare it to like something that's really popular like Maroon 5, it's way out of that league because it has so many interesting ideas in it. And even when you don't have a particular song that uses these jazz chords, there's still sometimes where it throws these little things in there. Empty Cups, for example, has this point where it throws in, again, that C major 7 chord out of nowhere. Through it all and Patient have this more of a jazz piano part where Charlie Puth gets to actually perform what he has learned over the years. And it's I wouldn't go over those chord progressions, but there's a lot of great chords with some beautiful color tones, some inflections, some added notes that gives it these interesting ideas. And then you even get If You Leave Me Now, which is the song with Boyz II Men on it, which is a completely a cappella song. And again, uses a lot of interesting chord progressions. I personally am not going to go over it because I want to cover it. And maybe at some point when I do cover it, I will talk a little bit more about the ideas of it. But it's a beautiful song. The only thing I don't like about it is the key change. So it goes from D to E, and it just feels a little bit weird how it goes from there. But other than that, great. And then there's other songs that are great with layering, in particular Attention. It has a funky bass line, it has an awesome guitar idea that comes in later into the song, and it just builds very well. Some great harmonies throughout a lot of these tracks, and for the most part, each song has its own little feel to it. Whether it's Slow It Down, where it feels a little bit more like a Daft Punk song mixed with a little bit of this 70s funk to it. Or if it's Change, which is the acoustic ballad with James Taylor. Or if it's Done For Me, which has a little bit more of this 80s Michael Jackson kind of feel to it. Or if it's How Long, which has a little bit more of this funky, jazzy kind of feel. I will say, in terms of negatives, I think as much as I like most of the first half, it feels a little bit too similar at times, where songs like The Way I Am, LA Girls, How Long, Done For Me, all of them feel a little bit similar, even though LA Girls is a little bit slower than everything. Those 5 in general kind of feel like they are the same type of vibe. So it's not that it's bad, but I think it could have been spaced a little bit better throughout the album, because now you're kind of being like, okay, all this is a little bit too much in terms of, even if it's great, it's a little bit of too much of a good thing. If you space it out a little bit better, I think this would have been a much better album. I think the bottom half of it, you have a little bit more of this variety, where next song is Patient, the gospel-ish ballad, and then you get If You Leave Me Now, which is the a cappella song. Boy, you get a little bit more of this funky song to it. Slow It Down is that Daft Punk feel, and then Change is the ballad, and then Somebody Told Me is actually the most rock kind of song on this album. I think from there you get a lot of just difference. Another downside for me, Empty Cups, not my favorite song on the album. Feels a little bit too much like Attention, but with not as much of an interesting idea in there. And then Through It All is a great ballad at the end. I will say it does feel a little bit weird at times, at least at the first chorus. It's giving this particular feel to it, and then when the chorus comes in, it kind of messes with that feel, and it doesn't until that drum part comes in, it doesn't feel like it solidifies. So for me, that's one of the only other downsides. And then for the most part, the lyrics are good. It's mostly throughout the entire album talking about a relationship between two people and how much each side has messed up. Whether if it's a tension where this ex is trying to get back with him but doesn't really want to get back, he just wants attention. She wants attention. To How Long, where she is now flipping it on him, being like, how long have you been going out with this person? Done For Me is on both sides, where what have you guys done for each other? Patient is more from the side of the guy being like, please be patient with me. I know I've messed up, but please give me a chance. Same thing with If You Leave Me Now, kind of is like, please stay with me because I'm nothing without you. So most of them fit into that vibe. The only ones that don't really do are Boy, which I think is an interesting one. I don't think it's my favorite song on the album, but it's one that is talking about Charlie Puth trying to get out with a older lady, but she's treating him like a boy because he was born in the 90s. Change, I think, even though I really, really like the song, I really like the harmonies on there, it is a little bit too cliched in the lyrics. It's talking about we all need to change and become better in order to make the world one, which is a nice sentiment, but it doesn't really do much. It's not anything different from what I've heard from other songs like that. Other than that, I really like the idea of Way I Am, which is Charlie Puth talking about that he will be who he is and not what the record industry wants him to be. And Through It All is also talking about his life as well. Other than that, the other songs aren't mostly interesting. Empty Cups is talking about Charlie Puth trying to be with someone who already has a boyfriend, and Somebody Told Me is that other part where Charlie Puth himself is with somebody who has been cheating on him. So a lot about love, a lot about life, and overall a really, really solid pop album. I would say maybe sometimes take this in bite-sized chunks because of just those first 5, but if you can get through those first 5, even though they are the best songs on the album, and you listen to the rest of it, you'll see the diversity in sound later. I would have liked him to have just made this a little bit better in terms of the ordering, because then it would have been an amazing album. To me, it's still a really good album, and to me, the best pop album I've heard so far. So if you like jazz-tinged pop with some interesting chord progressions, some great harmonies, some funky songs, You're going to love this album. So that is my time. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this album or this video, give it a like. Tell me what you like or hate about this album. Subscribe to my channel. Click that button in the middle, as well as hit that bell if you have not, because I'll let you know when I upload a new video. And also share this with your friends and just keep on watching my videos. So I will be hopefully back tomorrow with another kind of pop album. But until then, this is the Music Fan, and I'm signing off.